What's going on YouTube? It's Tej back again with another video, and today we're talking about the New Orleans Saints as a part of our 2021 NFL season preview series. We're just over halfway through the NFC South, and we'll get to the West, finish with the NFC North, and I will be bringing you my updated power rankings and season predictions. Already started to make my draft of that, so that is really exciting. But today we're talking about New Orleans, and hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. If you do, please hit that like button. It would help me out a ton. And if you're new to the channel, want more sports content like this, please consider subscribing and give me your Saints takes down below. You will find out I am pretty low on this team, but tell me why I'm wrong. How many wins do you think they get? Who are some X factors, games you're looking forward to watching them play? Love to have your thoughts, so let's talk about the Saints down below. So let's start by talking about win range, 5 to 11 wins. I think that's the widest range I've had in any of these videos. You'll see this projected win total, and when I redo that video for my early season predictions week by week, I'm pretty low on this team, guys, and I know that's going to irritate a lot of Saints fans, but I worry about the two guys on the screen right now. But additionally, that wide receiver room, can the offensive line find a way to continue to stay healthy, specifically on the interior? The defense, I think Marcus Davenport, Cam Jordan are pretty good, but everyone else on that front four has some question marks. Demario Davis, can he continue to play like an elite linebacker? Age is going to fight against that. And in the secondary, Marshawn Lattimore, he could face a suspension, but outside of him, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's a good combo safety slot corner. Marcus Williams on the franchise tag. There's some pieces there I like, but I just don't think this is the same Saints team from years past. So because of that, I'm lower on my projected win total. Going back to that first time I did the early season predictions was 6 wins. Spoiler alert, it gets a little lower in the updated one. But at the same time, this is a great coaching staff. There are stars everywhere. And if Jameis Winston can cut down on the turnover problems, or Taysom Hill gives you a high enough floor with some improved throwing ability, this team, it's not impossible to go to 11-6. So that's why it's really tough. I know that win range is such a cop-out because it's like, well, they could be bad or they could be good. But I think that's the true identity. Honestly, this win range is like 5 to 7 or 10 or 11. It doesn't feel like there's going to be a whole lot of in-between with the Saints. Either it's going to work with Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, or it's not. And I'm kind of in the boat of thinking it's not realistic goal. Figure out a plan for the quarterback position, whether it's, hey, Jameis looks really good, I think we should bring it back at the end of this year, or, hey, Taysom Hill, he's into his 30s, but that upside gives us a little bit of what Baltimore has with Lamar Jackson. Obviously not to the same level of like an athlete, but he's a bruiser, and him, Kamara, Latavius Murray, we can kind of do some of those similar things with a 3, running back backfield in a lot of ways, not calling Taysom a running back, but close to it. Because he's really a gadget player, so, can be defined in many different ways. Or neither one of them work, and maybe Ian Book ends up seeing the field. I mean, he's someone that, it's kind of, I'm a Notre Dame fan, but I don't know why he went in the 4th round. That felt like really early compared to what his value was projected to be, and where I saw it at. 6th round pick made some sense maybe, but 4th rounder, it's clear the Saints like him, and maybe he ends up seeing the field if, Winston, Hill are just, that bad. Or maybe that's who they're trying to prepare to have take over next year. That would be interesting as well. Or it doesn't work. They don't think Book is that guy, and this offseason is focused on getting their hands on Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, or through the draft getting Malik Willis, Keaton Slovis, Carson Strong, whoever it might be. Doesn't really matter. But this is a big year. Got to figure out what you're going to do with the quarterback position. Given their cap, they did a lot of work to get out of cap hell this year, but that's going to be a common thing that you hear with New Orleans Saints. So going with the rookie quarterback doesn't sound all that bad if they can find a way to, depending on where the draft position is, maybe it would move up. But we'll see how this draft class shakes out. But a rookie quarterback might be really good for this team's cap situation moving forward. Anyways, reach goal, make the playoffs, right? Because in a perfect situation, it works out with Jameis or works out with Taysom. The star players like Cam Jordan continues to be good. You have maybe the best tackle duo. It's Ron Armstead, Ryan Ramczyk in the league. Alvin Kamara is a stud. He's one of the best running backs in football. And then you get Michael Thomas back midway through the year that bolsters the passing game some. And that's enough to ride you to an 11-6 wildcard spot. I don't think that's going to be good enough to win the division, obviously, because they play with Tampa. That's the next video we'll talk about. But there is still a pathway for them to make the playoffs. So, given this team's history and their tradition, and Sean Payton's a fantastic coach, that should be their reach goal. X factors, Yeah, no PFF grades here. It's just a lot to throw on the screen, and because you know where we have to start. Jameis Winston versus Taysom Hill. Up until the Michael Thomas injury, or really the announcing of him going to need surgery, I was steadfast that it's going to be Jameis Winston. That they're just giving the Taysom Hills some, respect, throwing him in the competition, trying to put some fire underneath Jameis Winston. But I always thought it was just going to be Winston's, position to have. But with Thomas going down, I'm starting to shift in the other direction because that wide receiver room, we're going to talk about Marquez Callaway here in a second, but it's a lot of question marks. And there are just not a lot of guys who are proven right now in that wide receiver room. And even if you include Adam Troutman, who I'm really high on in for fantasy, he's, a sleeper tight end for a reason. He hasn't done anything yet. So maybe going Taysom Hill and trying to replicate what Baltimore has with, two really good running backs, Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray being your J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, and then Taysom Hill's a running threat, different type of runner as Lamar Jackson, but a running threat nonetheless. And maybe that's your point of attack. And that provides a really high floor in a lot of ways. It's going to be moderately efficient. You won't have big plays, but you'll probably be able to put up with that good of an offensive line, 24-ish points per game, if not more. And then you just got to hope the defense does what it does, and that Marshawn Lattimore plays like a stud, and Cam Jordan, and Marcus Davenport, and Demario Davis, and all these guys continue to play really good. You get David Onyemata back from his suspension. That'll help, especially against the run. So I'm starting to lean towards Taysom Hill. I think it should be Jameis Winston just to see what he could be, right? Carolina's giving Sam Darnold a chance. They're trying to figure out, can he be a long-term answer? The upside is there, and I think there's more upside in play here with Jameis, because if he cuts down on the 30 turnovers, 30 interceptions in specific from the last time we saw him as a starter, everything else is pretty good. So can Sean Payton be the guy to get in his ear and clean up those mistakes? Let's find out. That's what I'm eager to find out. Then maybe you make the change to Taysom Hill if Jameis proves that he cannot cut down on the interceptions. Second X factor, Marquez Callaway. I've already seen the hype for him on Twitter, from beat writers, you name it. Everybody seems to really like Marquez Callaway right now. And it's lining up that he's wide receiver 1. Only 305 snaps played last year. And he's a guy who you had the talent on display while he was at Tennessee, kind of a prototype to Josh Palmer in the sense of situation, not necessarily skill set. I think they're different wide receivers, but their situations kind of aligned up. And obviously both coming from Tennessee, that makes sense. But Callaway's a guy who has talent, and he's a good, clean route runner, has enough explosiveness. He's a guy who fits what an NFL wide receiver should look like today. My worry now is, can he be a wide receiver number 1? Because I was already liking Callaway while they had Michael Thomas, because I thought they played well with one another. Callaway's a little bit more explosive, but they're both crisp route runners, trying to make the game easy, get open at a high rate for Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. But now he goes from being someone I liked as a potential breakout number 2 wide receiver to someone who's going to have to be a number 1. That is a huge weight to his shoulders. Can he do it? We'll find out, right? Jameis Winston, if he's the starter, is going to inflate some stats because he wants to throw it down the field. But Callaway's got to be able to get open. And if he can win in the intermediate and downfield parts of the field, that gives this team that downfield weapon they've been looking for. You remember the days of Ted Ginn, maybe half a decade ago, even if it's that long. They've been looking for that downfield burner to go with Michael Thomas. And maybe once he's back, Callaway can be that guy. But in the interim, he's got to step up and be a big-time player for this team. And my third X factor is the guy I assume is going to be CB2. Right now, Ken Crawley on the depth chart is cornerback 2, but you sign Brian Poole, and you look at these grades, he's got to be the number 2 guy. I know he primarily had played in the slot for the Jets, but you already have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's like a strong safety, nickel corner, and ultimately, the way the NFL is moving is having guys be able to play multiple spots. So there will be times, I'm sure, where Ken Crawley is on the outside, Brian Poole's in the nickel, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson plays more of that traditional safety role. And there's going to be times where you see Poole on the outside and Gardner-Johnson in the nickel. Ideally, that versatility and being able to put guys in different spots so a defense can't get into a set pattern against how your defense is lining up is a good thing. I think Poole gives you some of that versatility. But again, just don't even worry about the number grades. Look at where he's ranking. 8th out of 119 in coverage grade. He's fantastic against the run. 11th overall. Undrafted player in 2018, and Marquez Callaway was also undrafted, so it's kind of sick we're highlighting some undrafted dudes. But this is a guy where once I heard this signing, I felt a whole lot better about this team's defense, because you look at Green Bay, right? 3/4 of that starting unit in the secondary is fantastic. Jair Alexander is one of the best corners. Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage, great safety tandem right there. But Kevin King always gets picked on. And that's how I was kind of seeing the Saints work. I like Marshawn Lattimore. I really like Marcus Williams. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson can do a lot of things, and he's a good football player. But Ken Crawley, or prior to him retiring, P.J. Williams, those guys were going to get picked on. But now they bring in Brian Poole, and I don't think teams can pick on Poole to the same level they could pick on those other guys. Plus, Poole is good against the run, so it's an added element. One more splash to this signing. And they get him for cheap. Obviously, that's a good thing, too. So I am a big fan of Brian Poole. I was really hoping the Steelers should bring him in as that new nickel corner to replace Mike Hilton, but instead lands in a good spot with New Orleans. That makes me feel a lot better about that secondary, which in turn makes me feel better about this defense overall and starts to persuade my opinion on where I see this team at. Games to watch, then we'll close this video out. Week 4 against the Giants. Two teams that are trying to figure out the QB position, so it's kind of fun there. Additionally, the Saints are at home, so you feel confident that they could win. Also gave me strong nostalgia. I don't know if anybody else remembers this game, but where Drew Brees threw for like 6 tutties and Eli Manning had 5. Maybe I have those numbers backwards, but that one shootout in Mercedes-Benz, the Dome. Oh my gosh, strong nostalgia ties there. Don't think we'll see a game like that this year, but these two teams, again, in sort of similar situations given their roster status, but then the QB uncertainty. Where I worry about this matchup for New Orleans is the Giants might have the deepest secondary in football. I mean, Jabril Peppers, Julian Love. Then you look at the corners and Aaron Robinson, Darnay Holmes, James Bradbury, Adoree Jackson. It goes on and on and on. That secondary is unbelievably deep. Meanwhile, the Saints, you're hoping Troutman emerges as a tight end. You're hoping for good things out of Marquez Callaway, we talked about earlier. You're hoping everybody else basically takes a step forward. Traquan Smith, does he finally figure it out and become a really reliable starting wide receiver? We'll find out. So that's where I kind of worry about that matchup for the Saints. Week 11 against the Eagles on the road, but again, another game where they could come away with a W. The Eagles gave the Saints that surprise win. Jalen Hurts' first start last year. Opportunity for some redemption this time around. And, if it's Taysom Hill versus Jalen Hurts, I don't know. That might be a tough game to watch just from the point of view of watching guys try to throw the football who aren't the most polished passers in the league. But in another sense, Hurts and Hill can do a lot with their legs. So maybe it's a really fun matchup. And then week 16, this is their final non-division game. So I don't include division games in the games to watch. So obviously this is a good barometer. How good did this team get over the year? Did it get any better? Did it stay the same? Did it figure out that QB position? All those question marks should have an answer by week 16. Plus it's Monday Night Football. So if this team is making a playoff push, primetime game, it's a narrative game, as I say all the time on this channel. So definitely one I'm looking forward to watching. But that's going to do it for my 2021 New Orleans Saints season preview video. Tell me what you think about this team down in the comments section. Tell me how many wins you think they get. I know I'm low on them, so Saints fans, tell me why I'm wrong, but do so politely, please. X factors, some games you look forward to watch. Let me hear it all. Let's talk about the Saints down below. Hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit that like button. It would help me out a ton. And if you're new to the channel, want more football content in your life, just hit that big red subscribe button. That's going to do it for this one. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, my name is Tej, and I'm signing off.